you look around the league, there's a lot of teams, in the hunt. We're in the hunt. You sit here and you say, hey, Thanksgiving, and close to the end of November, and we're in the hunt. When you sit around that table tomorrow, you're saying we're in the hunt. And there's a lot of teams that wish they were in the hunt. Well, we're in the hunt.
Watching the Super Bowl is like watching your wife sleep with another guy. You're mad, but you know that you couldn't do what he's doing because he's better at lovemaking than you. That's what watching this. It's the In the Hunt cast. It's Greg Bauk, Sean Murphy, Kyle Turner, and Brian Herberger joining us.
Hey,
I only sound happy. I sound like I hate Sean and Kyle, but like Brian's here to save me. So I was happy to announce that he's on the cast as well.
Well, I mean, I also hate Sean and Kyle, so it makes sense.
Have you guys thought about changing the name of the podcast at all this year?
Oh, hey, let's read the podcast, Brian. Don't
like
get into that.
In the playoffs or anything?
No, we have to remember where we came from,
Yeah.
and that was in the hunt for 20 years.
We did talk about this last cast, which is we're in the hunt for a Super Bowl title. So if the Bills win the Super Bowl, hopefully that's a good problem we have where we'll have to take that next step.
It makes sense now. Okay.
Well, we got a patented Greg opening, which is always great. And I think we should talk about the Super Bowl, mainly because I did not watch 1 second of it. So what happened?
No, you didn't. Why didn't you? What'd you do? What is on TV other than even Netflix was showing the fucking Super Bowl show? What could you possibly be doing?
I didn't watch any of it, and it was a great decision. It sounded like a
my
terrible game.
It was, but what else is there to do? That's my only thing. There's nothing else
There's
to
anything.
do.
There's a limitless amount of things to do.
I mean, I was pouting immediately after the Bills game a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I'm not watching this stupid Super Bowl. I don't care about these teams. And then as the game got closer, it was like, well, what else am I going to do? And there were plenty of Super Bowls the last 20 years that I fully intended on watching, but I usually just drink too much and black out by the second quarter anyway. So I was like, why am I making this big deal about changing what normally works? So
I watched, and the first quarter was like, I thought Kansas City was going to win by 100 points. So the fact that they weren't doing anything in the first quarter, I thought was good because a close game is what you want. By the third quarter, my wife, who would only be as interested as the game was interesting, just passively watches everything. She was on her laptop looking at lamps for our hallway, like not lamps, but lights. And she's texting me pictures of lights to see if I like them, which normally during a football game would drive me crazy. But it was nice that I had something to like do, to choose light fixtures. That's how bad this game was.
I to make it more interesting, I placed a few bets, and through Lou.
Okay.
I don't know how else to do it. I
Yeah.
don't have a guy, so I texted Lou. I lost every single one of them, and I don't plan on paying Lou or his bookie back. So this might be my last podcast. I'm getting out of here.
At least your last one with thumbs.
How much are you down?
125. But I'm on unemployment, so that's half my unemployment check. So it's going to take a minute.
You
were trying to double your income for the week.
Yeah. But here's one that really pissed me off. I don't want to get too much into the betting thing, but I had Darrell Williams scoring the Chiefs' first touchdown. And obviously they didn't score fucking at all. And then I had the Buccaneers scoring any rushing touchdown in the first half, and they got fucking shut out on the 1 yard line. And I was like, I don't like gambling. Like, I was like, I could see how someone could, punch their family or tie them up in a closet and get them out. I was furious. I'm like, you got stopped on the 1 yard line. You cost me $200, you fucking idiots. $200.
I wonder what the payoff would have been if you had chosen Kansas City no touchdowns, because that's what happened. Like that, I was probably
it
40,
was
50 to 1.
Because I bet Mahomes like over 400 yards passing, and him under 200 was like plus 2,000. I mean, you could have changed your life or something.
I also want to say, because we all, I think, Greg and Kyle at different times in the podcast have said that we hate Boston sports more than Brady. But I was thinking about this last night, and I realized I also hate Brady. I forget, I forget that because like, and it's not just the winning all the time, but there's the Trump thing. I saw that thing of all his family wasn't wearing masks. He got like $1 million from the government through his bullshit company and bought like a mega yacht. So like, fuck that guy. Like I think I deluded myself into thinking it was purely Patriots. And I also dislike Brady. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, this Super Bowl pretty much for Bills fans is broken because the game was so shitty. It literally has just broke down to, are you willing to root for Brady or root against Brady? And that's the only thing that was going in this game. And like I said, I had no problem rooting for Brady. Like Sean said, I still hate him, but not as much. The hate, if the Patriots is a organization is a 10 out of 10 hate, I got Brady at like a 5 out of 10. Well, I still hate him, but
it's a little easier because it's not our problem anymore, really. I'm not going to hear Tampa Bay fans rub it in my face all off season about how Tom Brady was, So it's like out of sight, out of mind. If they want to win or contend for the Super Bowl in the NFC, go ahead. We got other shit to worry about over here,
I think the damage has been done with him. Like, it doesn't matter if he lost, it wasn't going to tarnish his reputation. He's the best. It doesn't matter. But him winning did make them angry in Boston fans. So it was the best case scenario.
And I also, the big thing was, I just don't want another dynasty in the NFL.
Yeah.
And if KC won too, it'd be we'd have to fucking hear about a dynasty. And also, this loss does not tarnish Mahomes' career one bit. But I'm so glad we don't have to hear about another fucking dynasty. I just didn't want that. I did not fucking want that.
They're kind of crazy how they're already putting Mahomes there. They're asking him questions like, so Tom Brady's in his 10th Super Bowl. How do you plan to get to your 10? And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Give this guy
next year,
his second one first.
Well, that's the thing that almost makes me nervous already about next season. Maybe it's just because I've been a Bills fan for so long. But I mean, people forget that like Cam Newton looked unbeatable for 1 year. And, like Matt Ryan looked unbeatable for 1 year. And then those people come back down to earth a little bit. So not only with Mahomes, but that still scares me with Allen. I mean, I'm a Bills fan at heart and worried that he can't do that again.
Well, Lamar Jackson too. The same thing happened the last 2 years with him. But I'm happy how this ended up, I guess. I mean, at least Kansas City looks beatable. There was an example of them, they're not this team that nobody's going to be able to stop forever. And I like that they woke up today probably feeling how we felt 2 weeks ago. Like, you're expecting this 38-35 shootout and your team shows up and all they can do is kick field goals, So take that, Kansas City. You're not perfect.
Yeah. Either way, fuck them both. The game's over and it sucked.
One last Super Bowl thing is that I thought was fun is McCoy.
You didn't watch it.
I know. This is a stat from the game is McCoy leaves the Bills. He gets 2 Super Bowl rings and has 0 Super Bowl snaps, which is a nuts thing.
You can't. He tweeted out too, like 2-time champ or something. Like he's like did it again. I was like, you can't do that. Like, I know you played at the highest level and you were really good, but you can't do that. You just can't.
Go ahead, Brian.
Well, Le'Veon Bell is there. Like, what are these teams doing? They just pick up these guys. Like Tampa Bay has no need for any other person at wide receiver. They're like, well, Antonio Brown's not doing anything. Let's just throw him on the team. And then you're watching Sean, I know you missed it. So the first 3 touchdowns, Gronkowski, Antonio Brown. Like, if you needed a feel-good story to keep you.
That sounds like my nightmare watching that.
Right. Get some new material, NFL. We don't want to watch that anymore.
It's like the equivalent of going up there and doing arms.
Yeah. What year is this? So
I forgot I had a tweet of the Super Bowl.
Oh.
I just remembered this. So this is by somebody named John Squire.
I thought it was going to be by Toyota.
It's at John, no H, Jon, at John_Squire. He said, this is insane. He said, people underestimate Tom Brady's ability in the film room in dissecting defenses and tendencies. Give him 2 weeks and he's unbeatable. Dude, what? the fuck? People underestimate Tom Brady? What are you talking about? What does this guy even mean? Who underestimates Tom Brady?
That take is so hot the fire department's been called in.
I mean, how fucking ridiculous is that? What a fucking idiot. Sorry, John. I hope he's not an In the Hunter, but
no, if he is, he's
that's not a Bills fan. That's just a guy. I just Googled I just was searching like Tom Brady. I mean, what stupid shit is that?
Yeah. Well, somebody's got to stand up for him out there.
Well, speaking of stupid shit, Kyle, I hear you have you listened to our season preview episode, and how did we do?
Oh no.
Believe it or not, I was wrong a lot. Greg was also wrong on some things. I said, for some reason, I said, if Josh Allen throws for over 30 touchdowns, I won't trust it. I don't know why I said that. I said he's got to fall somewhere between 22 and 29 passing touchdowns for me to be like, all right, he took a step forward. 30, I said I wouldn't believe it, which is a bit much. Greg said he didn't expect Josh Allen's stats to be any different, even with Diggs.
Okay. I still am amazed that it happened.
Greg predicted the Bills would go 7-9. Legitimately, we questioned him. Even I was like, "That's a bit low, Greg." I said 9-7. Sean did not give a prediction because he's a coward.
Oh, did I really?
You did not. I think we skipped over you. Okay. I think we went off, and you know how we normally just randomly talk about dumb shit.
Because normally I say like 13-3, so I was all pumped to be right.
I feel Herberger would have said 14-2.
Yeah, I would have not been on the 9-7 train. But I've been saying I've been saying 14-2 for 20 years. Just this
was where I was the most wrong and kind of right. I predicted the Bucs would go 8-8. I said not only was I wrong about that, I said it was because Tom Brady wouldn't make a huge difference and the defense was going to be bad. They had the best defense in the league, and Tom Brady was amazing. I did say the 49ers would be bad. I did not say it was because Jimmy Garoppolo would be dead. I said the Jaguars would not be the worst team in the league, and they literally are the worst team in the league.
Yep. Mathematically,
And I said the Jets would be the worst. And those two takes might not be wrong. I think the Jets are worse than the Jags, and they just got lucky.
What was the game the Jets won they shouldn't have?
It was against the Rams.
The Rams, that's it. Yeah.
And the Rams had everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kyle, this is how you lost $125 yesterday.
Really.
Boy, do I know.
If you would have bet money at the beginning of the year, you'd have lost so much money.
Yeah, I said something like at the beginning of the season, like it never works when the old quarterback goes to a new team. It never works out for that guy. And I was very wrong. So unfortunately, I mean, it's just old. I'm Tom Brady, you can call him the greatest quarterback of all time. And, I understand he's got all these championships, but we just got to be sick of watching him play. Who wants to? He's not fun to watch play either. Whether you hate him, dislike him, you're neutral. I mean, he's going to get 5 yards on 3rd and 4 for the next 20 years. That's all he does. And it's like, all right, we get it.
It's crazy, especially in the past 10 years, where everyone has been like, the future of the quarterback is the extremely mobile guy. And he has defied all odds. He is basically immobile. He doesn't move at all and has still been the best. It's just crazy. Everyone around him is Allen, Mahomes, Watson, Lamar Jackson, Tannehill can move. Even Drew Brees gets out a little, can run a little bit. Tom Brady does not fucking move, and he still throws it all over the field.
Someone tweeted out a motion chart of shotgun snap passes of both quarterbacks, and Mahomes was like, it looked like little Jeffy on Family Circus running all over the place. And
Family circle.
Brady's was just like 28 straight lines back, like 5-step drop, pass the ball. He knows what the hell he's doing. I want him to play next year, though. He has to be too old eventually.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you know, we're gonna like wheel him out there when he's 62 and be like, yeah, he only went 7-9. He sucks. It's just like,
in 20 years when he's finally bad, we're like, we knew it would happen eventually.
When he's dead, we're gonna all take our picture next to his corpse, like high stepping over it.
When we're all dead. At least the Bills, I mean, thank God he's out of the division, and at least the Bills were ready for when that finally happened. Because can you imagine, I mean, we waited out for 20 years and finally he disappears and the Dolphins are the AFC champs this year. I mean, I could not have handled that. So thank God the Bills.
Or if the entire AFC East was the NFC East and we had nothing, right? Like the whole division would just be a wasteland of horse shit.
Yeah, Brady leaves and our quarterback is Blaine Gabbert or something like that. He's swinging from a bridge right now.
Kyle, do you have any more cold takes exposed for us before we move on?
No. Well, I have one big one that we've been waiting for 3 years. That's 3. So if anyone's new to the podcast, as in listening this year, I hope this came across. I was not a big fan of the Allen pick at all. I hated it with all of my heart. Okay. But I said, no matter who they picked that year, you could go back and listen. I said, no matter who they pick, I will not give my final evaluation until after 3 years in the league. 3 years. I said, I'm waiting no matter who, even if it was Baker, Rosen, or Allen. I'm giving them 3 years. It doesn't matter. And then I'll say what I think. So there was earlier in the year, I don't know if you guys remember this, there was a Josh Allen apology form that was going around for everyone that hated Josh Allen. Now they get to sign this apology form. And will you believe it or not, I got some problems with it. Okay. So I'll read a little bit of the apology form here, which I will sign on my head. I don't have a printer, so I can't.
What are you making addendums to it? Where you have to initial? Is it okay?
There are some. I'll tell you why. So it says the Josh Allen apology form. It says to Josh Allen from Kyle Turner, today's date. Reason for behavior. So reason for me not liking him. The options are Twitter convinced me he was a bust, which I guess I could check. I didn't watch him in college. True. I'm biased against the Bills. I guess also true.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I only looked at his 40 time and height. Not true. I missed Jim Kelly. Not true. I don't care. I had a gut feeling and I was wrong. Also true. But can I also put in there that he was objectively pretty bad his rookie year, and his second year, although taking a massive step forward, was still bottom 10 in almost every major statistical category that's important for a quarterback.
Yeah.
And then his third year rolls around, my final evaluation year, where I go, all right, if he has this.
He was nervous. I remember him giving interviews like, this is the final year Kyle has to evaluate me.
I was like, he was texting me. He goes, I plan to prove you wrong. I said, I hope so, kid. You know what I mean? And then he goes out and he fucking proves me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had to feel good for him.
It's probably the only reason he did well. And now that I like him, he's probably going to fall back into a bust category here. But so I will say, although I think the Josh Allen apology form is missing some boxes, his third year for sure proved me wrong. And I will happily sign the apology form with my head. Again, I'm not going to go print this out at UPS because that costs like $1 and I just lost 125 betting on a shitty fucking Super Bowl. But so Josh Allen, and to all his fans, I am sorry. I was wrong. And I'm excited to watch Josh Allen grow. And he better not fall at all, or else I'll be here to tell you I was right.
I'm just excited for the podcast in 3 years from now when we get the Lee Smith apology form.
Good for you, Kyle. Holding yourself accountable and remembering to do so 3 years later. I mean, even Mel Kiper doesn't even do that. Just move on to the next year.
I've been waiting for this moment literally since the day they drafted him. The day they drafted him, I said, I cannot wait for that podcast 3 years from now. I'm either going to swim in my joy that I was right, or completely love that I was wrong. And I couldn't be happier that I was wrong. Remind me of this every day for the next 15 years when the Bills are easily running the division. I don't care. I'm glad I was wrong.
If I had known back then that I was still going to be doing a podcast in 3 years, I would have been so sad. Like, I'm glad I didn't carry that knowledge the whole time. So.
Greg, this is our 4th year.
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm so much closer to death.
It is the big reason I wanted to wait for 3 years for Josh Allen or any quarterback is how many times have we seen that, like, rare year where the quarterback has this amazing year. We're seeing it with Carson Wentz. His second year, he's in the MVP race until he tears his ACL, but he's having a phenomenal year. Derek Carr threw like 40 or like 35 touchdown passes his second year. He had this amazing year. So I was like, you got to wait. And Josh Allen has done everything you would want. He's gotten better each year. There wasn't like an up and down. There was only going up. And, I'm just so fucking glad I don't have to look at mock drafts in October.
Well, can I talk football for a second? And you can even respond to this. Like, he's good. He had a good year, and the team is really good. Like, the reason, like, you bring up the Cam Newton thing, he was, good for a year and then kind of dog shit after that. Like, I have a lot of faith in the team, like Bean and McDermott, which makes me optimistic that he won't just fall off the face of the earth. And you look at this offseason and what, like, the Chiefs lost, and it was kind of, evident why. Like, they got pressure on Mahomes. They made him run around a little. Like, there are fixes that can be made to put the Bills on that level, and this offseason is going to be really fun. Like, that's one of the biggest things I got from that game was that we are in the point where it's just tweaking because he's good.
Well, speaking of that, I have a great segue to my next point, Greg, which is
wait, your next point. You didn't even respond.
No, but you
didn't even acknowledge Greg's
But it's the
point.
same point. It's a
Great
similar point.
Greg. We'll move on now. Great.
It's a similar point. I think you'll like it. Because the past 2 weeks since we've done our last episode, people on the internet machine were making fun of McDermott saying when he said we have to run the ball better. He's right, though. He didn't have to say we have to run it more. He just has to say we have to run it better. Yeah. And because of that, there was a lot of talk on Twitter about if we draft a first round running back, talking about those tweaks. I don't know if you guys have any takes on that. I don't think it's a terrible idea in a vacuum, but being up against the cap, they just spent back-to-back third-round picks on running backs. I think there's no way in hell they would draft a first-round running back, nor should they, especially this year.
And I mean, Allen's part of that no matter who your running back is, right? I mean, he's part of the running game, no matter what the formation is. So, I mean, maybe there's a spot for that for a first-round running back if it's the right fit. But I think it's more just not just Allen like getting better, it's them from the year he was drafted. Like, here's what he is, here's what we think he can be, and here's how we're going to get him there. It's not just throwing him out there. Like, they have held his hand and given him all the tools he needed the last 3 years to get to where he is. So it's great that it's just not like, all right, we found this awesome quarterback. Like, we have this whole system in place that now it's like, well, now we just got to go out and keep being good, because that's where we're at. And normally, 3 years into a quarterback, we're like, all right, fire the coach, fire the GM, and who's coming out of Clemson next year. But it's a totally different spot to be in as a Bills fan, where you're just like, evaluating what two areas of your game or team need to get a little bit better to be in the top 4, top 2 again of the NFL next year.
Yeah, I agree. See, Greg, we kept to the same point.
My biggest thing, I'm moving on. My biggest thing this year, the scariest was the regression of the defense. And
I gotta be honest. I thought we'd get more out of that first round running back conversation. I thought Kyle would have a hot take.
I personally want to wait. This is the season review. We're not talking about the off season.
All right.
Because someone will just pull over and just turn it off.
Yeah. Plus, we need to fill at least 40 minutes for our off-season episodes. We can't go blowing our load on the fucking on the season review.
I mean, that's what the Chiefs did. Obviously, they're picked last year. They got Edwards Hilaire. There's keep adding to the offense,
and they lost the Super Bowl. Coincidence?
Yeah. Shows that what they know.
So going into this season, the Bills lose Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson, and everyone, including me, is like, they're good but replaceable for sure. And then they get Mario Addison and Quentin Jefferson, and we're like, there it is. Those guys are at least equal. But something happened on the defense, and they regressed a lot. So here's some shitty stats for you. The Bills allowed 150 yards rushing in 6 games this season. They were 16th in rush yards allowed, 4.6 yards per carry. They did have the defense had 38 sacks, but the defensive line only accounted for 19 and a half of those sacks. And they only generated pressure 22.7% of the time, which is 20th. So they're right around the middle of the pack defense, which is fine, except for the fact that our defensive line is the second most expensive defensive line in the league at $55.3 million this year. So the Super Bowl showed me one thing is you have to have monsters on the defensive line.
Yes.
You have to have that guy that just is a terrorizer, and we don't have that. If there were 2 guys on this defensive line that I want, is Oliver and Hughes is old, and you have no one else. There's no one else.
I don't know if this is enough to point to the regression, but I think people underestimated Starr sitting out. And I think Edwards and Milano, I think their injuries were enough to, even if that's just a 10% ding overall, I think that's enough to get you a little slide.
It felt like they were, I mean, I don't have any statistics to base this on, just my foggy memory, but it felt like getting into December and towards the end of the season, they were kind of getting back closer, at least to where they were last year. And yeah, Milano and everybody was kind of all back. I mean, we're still not, getting as many sacks as people want, but it felt like the offense and defense, everything was kind of getting as good as it's been or could be, like right at the perfect time.
The statistic is like the 10-game winning streak they had at the end of the year. They played amazing. So, I think you can make too much out of one game. The Chiefs just played a perfect game, and then the next week they played like dog shit. And if they reverse that, you're in the Super Bowl. And Tampa played a perfect game in the Super Bowl. So Tampa lost games this year. There's times where they look terrible, and that the whole Brady going there thing looked like a mistake in the beginning of the year. So
they lost 3 in a row at one point this year.
And what was Tampa doing to Mahomes yesterday? Like, just do that, because it looked like I've never seen him like that. Like, he was like, all right, snap the ball. I'm going to run 20 yards backwards and then see who's open. That was that's all he did. I read a stat that he ran for 497 total yards yesterday, Mahomes. It's just crazy. But that's what happens when you have Shaq Barrett and JPP on rushing them. You know what I mean? Like, that's that, and they have like the 5th or one of the like the best defensive tackles in the league, like Vita Vea or whatever. I mean, if the biggest problem at the end of the season is like we got to work on our defense, I think we're built to do that. I think McDermott has the tools to figure that out, and I don't know, that's his job. That's what he does best. So fucking figure it out.
Well, our job is to make a good podcast, and we don't often do that. So it could be tough.
Podcast was 10-6 this year.
If you want to listen to a good podcast, go back and listen to our 2018 when the Bills were bad. That's when good content comes, not when they're fucking good and we're like, what do you idiots want to talk about? They're good. I don't know.
Yeah. Or listen to Nobody Watches Everything.
What was your favorite game of the year? Mine, I'll go first to give you time to think. I think it was, if I had to pick, the last Patriots game, the final game of the season. And it wasn't really that it was the Patriots per se, but it's just that the Bills destroyed them. It's the last game of the year. They're flying into the playoffs.
It was the second last game of the year.
They had everything set up to not play their starters. Wait, that wasn't the final game. That was the Miami game.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
So anyway,
You're doing great, Kyle.
I just
so far so good.
Well, my point is wrong again. I just that game in particular, I think was just fun. Maybe it had Christmas and snow and all that shit, but it was just the most fun that I had.
Oh, it's not even close. It was that game. Bill Belichick slamming the phone down. It was the passing of the torch.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That was
waited
hilarious.
20 years for that game.
Well, I think it was the Denver game. The Denver game was pretty great too, because
they
Because of stopping.
like Saturday they clinched the division, and there was still part of me that's like, oh man, I really hope they just get this taken care of today. You know, Denver might show up, and who knows? And we just blew them out. It was another one of those games where it wasn't even a question. So that was a lot of fun, and yeah, you could just, you know, I got this hat then from Dick's Sporting Goods. That was like behind us, and like, all right, now we just like dream about the playoffs for a few weeks.
I forgot about the Pittsburgh game. Like,
I was going to say
game might be better.
San Francisco and Pittsburgh would be my runner-ups because they were both the national television games. We had a winning streak, but it almost didn't seem real yet, you know. And
the San Fran game was my competition. I was picking between the Pats game and the San Fran game. The San Fran game was great, again, being national TV, and that the Bills were underdogs on the road. They're both teams on the road, and it was just great watching them fucking destroy.
The Pittsburgh game was amazing because like it was like not being afraid anymore. Like it was, I don't know, like being terrified of being stung by a bee, and then a bee stings you. It's like, oh, that's what that feels like. That's not even that bad. Like that's what the Steelers were like in that game. So it was such a relief. And then they just kept trouncing them.
Yep. Yeah. I'm ready for trivia. Do you guys have anything else, Kyle?
I want to ask Herberger one thing, actually.
What the fuck?
We got Tom. Hey, I'm unemployed.
We're not like, oh god.
You gave him the chance.
Herberger, you're in North Carolina, right? You live North Carolina or something?
That's your question.
Okay, there's a question.
Well, I wanted to know where to
Next question.
Send a hug.
Yes, I'm in North Carolina.
What was it like for you watching this season not in Buffalo? Were you super homesick? Were you like, I just want to fucking go home and watch games there at Brick Bar?
I definitely felt that way, but at the same time, I knew Buffalo wasn't normal I wouldn't be going home to what I wanted it to be. So
yeah.
It was weird. I mean, there were times during the playoffs where I just wanted to like be in Buffalo for no other reason than to like see the city hall lights and banners and crap like that, and walk around and see like pop-up tents selling sweatshirts on the corner. Like that's the stuff I wanted to be around at least. But I don't know, in a weird way, like I think we still had a pretty similar experience just watching games at home from wherever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially there's a lot of Buffalo transplants there, right?
Yeah, well, we have there's a Wegmans down here now that opened like a year ago. So you go to Wegmans and you can buy like your Labatt Blue and your pizza logs, and you know,
that's exactly what I get at the Wegmans in Brooklyn every time. And Bison dip. Yeah.
You see a guy in a Bills hat and you get excited, then he starts talking to you too much about Cheektowaga, and you're like, all right, I gotta go. But it's a good,
like racist. It's like, oh yeah, that's right.
In Brooklyn, I see a guy in a Bills hat. I'm like, hey, go Bills. He's like, what's that? And I'm like, the hat. He's like, I got this at a Goodwill for $47. I'm like,
expensive Goodwill.
It's Brooklyn.
Before we get to the question game, just a thing before we started recording, the lines came out for Super Bowl odds I saw, and Bills are tied for fourth place. We got Chiefs in first, Packers Bucks tied for second, Ravens Bills Rams tied for third. Yeah.
You know, I don't want to give too many hot takes at first, but did Baltimore keep Greg Roman?
Yeah.
Then I'm not going to believe the Baltimore Ravens have his equal shot at the Super Bowl here.
Greg Roman hates there.
I think it has a lot to do with the division you come through and things like that. So
Okay. And I also want to, the other news of note is Beasley played the entirety of the playoffs with a broken fibula, which, I mean, Greg had shin splints and he wouldn't stop complaining on the podcast. So
Greg had shin splints and literally couldn't record the podcast, which involves sitting.
No, that's not true.
I
had a
could bring up
6-inch rod inserted into my foot, and I had surgery. But I don't think I didn't record because of shin splints. I don't even have shin splints.
I could bring up the receipts.
Good, do it.
You're not going to bring up Lee Smith
retiring?
I
was going to bring it up, but
I thought I dreamed that. Did that really?
No,
happen?
but he's contemplating. He didn't do it yet. He's contemplating retirement.
Well, hear me out, Lee. I know you're a big listener. Get the hell out of here. I'm sick of talking about you.
No way. He's gonna have a comeback player of the year next year.
We need him just in case all of our tackles go down. He could step in and be a swing tackle.
That's true.
If all of our tackles get hurt, just fucking throw out the white flag and get Josh Allen off the field. We don't need fucking Lee Smith stepping in.
Well, that's where we disagree. All right, the jersey on the line today. Vintage Don Beebe. Yeah. I did not know. Did you guys know this? His son Chad Beebe plays for the Vikings.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
What?
I didn't know that. Yeah. See, I didn't know that.
I didn't know he had a son.
I probably only know that because of fantasy football, but I did know that.
Okay.
Is he a receiver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's small and white, just like Don Beebe.
He's a 380-pound defensive
Okay, 4 questions. Don Beebe jersey on the line. We'll start with
our
Greg.
guest.
No, he needs to see how the game works. You know, it's advantageous to go last. We're starting with Greg. Question 1. Greg, what number is larger, LaShawn McCoy rushing yards this season or the Rotten Tomato score of Varsity Blues?
Varsity Blues, because did McCoy have a single yard? I don't know. That's my guess.
Okay, we're going Varsity Blues. Kyle, we'll go to you next.
Well, Varsity Blues was produced by MTV, which isn't known for their movies. And I vaguely remember watching a Bucks game and McCoy getting like 5 carries, and one of them was for a first down.
Okay.
So I'm going to combine that and
That's
say
research.
McCoy.
Okay. To be fair, it was a 3rd and 1, but all right, fair enough. Brian, split the difference. So what do you think here?
And varsity, this rating would be out of 100?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the general population's feelings towards Varsity Blues rather than my own. And I'm going to say Varsity Blues.
Okay, well, Greg and Brian get the
What?
points.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomato score of Varsity Blues is at 43%, and McCoy had 31 rushing yards this season.
That's all he had?
Mm-hmm.
2-time champ.
Got a ring?
I got 2 of them. All right, we'll start with Kyle here for question 2. What year was the Super Bowl blackout? Was it 2013, 2011, 2015, or 2009?
13.
On 13. Okay, we'll go to you next, Brian.
Did you say those years in chronological order?
I did not. I don't know why, but here. Okay, I'll put it in chronological order. Is it 09, 011, 2013, or 2015?
So all the odds, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it was in the Superdome, right? I think, and I don't remember anything else about that game. So I'm gonna say 09.
Okay, going 09. Greg, what do you think?
That's the Kaepernick game because Baltimore was up and then they came back later, I think. And every time I hear about how long ago it's been since he's in a Super Bowl, I'm surprised, meaning I don't think it was that long ago. So what was the most recent?
The most recent one was 2015.
I'll say that.
Okay. Well, Kyle ties the game up because it was 2013.
I remember watching that game.
And we'll go to Brian next for question 3. Brian, how much, no choices here, you just closest gets it. How much did the average ticket to the original Super Bowl cost?
Oh, this is easy. On StubHub or face value?
Just face value.
I know it's stupid low. Chiefs, Packers, right? I'm I think $5.
Okay, going 5. Let's go to you next, Greg.
50.
50.
50, but you could buy a house for $50.
Yeah, and it was the Super Bowl. Well, it wasn't the Super Bowl, but it would eventually be called the Super Bowl.
So for what year was this again?
1967.
Okay. 50 makes sense. I thought it was like in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go $22.
$22.
That's probably a good guess, isn't it?
Well, it's very close, but Brian takes it home. It was $12.
No.
Yeah. So Brian has a big lead here going in to the final round, which means we start with Brian since he has the lead. Question 4, Brian. Again, the closest gets this. Pat DiMarco retired in the past 2 weeks. I want you to tell me, according to Spot Rack, what is his lifetime earnings in the NFL?
Wow. All right. So it's more than $12. Oh man. I don't know. How about $600,000?
You're gonna throw the game this early with $600,000?
How many weeks did he play?
He played for a few years.
All right. Are you sure you don't want to change it?
I'm sure I do, but it'll be a tiebreaker if I'm wrong.
There'll be a tiebreaker if you're wrong.
That's great. Then I want more questions. $600,000.
Okay, Greg, what do you think?
350.
350 what?
$350,000.
What is going on?
Lifetime earnings in the NFL?
Who is this?
Anyone, any single player has made more.
The minimum you can sign it for an NFL team is like $700,000, and you both chose under that.
I'll say $4 million. I'll change my answer.
Okay.
Times 10.
I'll let you go with 4 million. Kyle, this is yours to lose here.
I'll go $4,001.
Oh, you jerk. Take a guess.
Looks like Kyle takes it. His lifetime earnings $10,028,671. Tiebreaker now between Brian and Kyle. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but it's possible Lee Smith might be retiring. What is Lee Smith's career earnings? Brian, we'll start with you. Don't throw this one away. You could do this. We already know what DiMarco made.
All right, Kyle probably knows this answer, so I got to be really close.
You gotta be right on.
It's going to be in his apology letter next year. Damn it. All right. So how about $6.1 million?
Ooh, that's pretty close to what I was going to say.
Okay, I got you for 6.
Kyle's going to be, he's just going to say $1 off either way. So it's 50-50.
I won't let him do that this time.
He was in the league on a roster for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So again, at bare minimum, he's making $700,000. Last year he made $2.5 million. $2.5 million too fucking much.
This whole time Kyle's just trying to do math in his head, and it's hilarious.
So I'm gonna say $14.3 million.
Kyle, not bad. It's $21,803,516.
Could you imagine you made $21 million not being a good tight end?
He's a blocking specialist, Kyle.
Oh, get out of here.
God damn it. Kyle wins?
Kyle wins. Don Beebe jersey is
Don
his.
Bebe.
All right. Well, I'm going to get myself a Chad Beebe jersey now that I found out about those.
Get your own BB jersey.
Actually, I'm going to run up behind Kyle and knock it out of his hands at the last second before he crosses the goal line.
Before he crosses the goodwill line to sell it back.
Yeah.
One last hypothetical question here. Just wondering.
Do you live in North Carolina?
If you had to give me your address, Herberger, what would it be? Right now, again, I'm not trying to piss anyone off. Right now, would you trade Allen for Mahomes straight up? Or are you like, I'm living and dying with Allen?
Yeah, it's more fun.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not saying Mahomes is bad or going to be bad, but it's Allen's our guy. He's a psychopath. He's going to run around. He's taller and skinnier and better looking, and I want Allen for good.
All valid reasons.
Yeah.
If I had to include my wife in the trade, I'd still make it. Mahomes is a better quarterback. I love Allen. I hope he's great. I hope we win 20 Super Bowls. I know Patrick Mahomes can, and he's amazing. So sorry, honey, but Casey needs you in the deal.
I signed the apology form. I love Allen now. I'm an Allen lover.
Mm-hmm.
If Casey called and said, we hate Mahomes after this Super Bowl loss,
and we really want Craig's wife.
Straight up, I go, oh, thank you.
All right, that's our episode. Programming note, we have another week off, and then the next episode should be the annual best of on Monday, February 22nd.
All the best shit jokes.
Yeah, we have a Patreon every 1st and 15th, new episodes. Next one, we're talking about the Bills AFL Championship games. That'll be fun.
This week will be about the greatest quarterback of all time.
Oh my God. Can I say something real fast?
No, I had 50 minutes, you idiot.
Yes, but this isn't about football, so it's okay.
Perfect.
I didn't mind the halftime show, and I feel like people want to always hate it no matter what it is, and I think people need to shut the fuck up and just listen to the music or leave the room.
The Weeknd. I found out The Weeknd is just one guy who calls himself The Weeknd. Right? I had no idea. And Kyle, you're being very nice to everybody. I'm not sure. We probably got to wrap this up because he's going to start complimenting people. So
yeah. This is interesting. The longer we go on, Kyle turns nice and he starts giving out compliments.
I get all this rage pent up, and when I get it out, I'm actually a normal person.
That's it. Follow us YouTube, Twitter, leave us a review on iTunes.
Thank you, Brian, for joining us.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you guys.
Follow Brian on social media.
Yeah.
They don't even follow us.
You don't have to. I don't say anything.
We'll tag you in the post.
Get my address. Send me a Christmas card.
I'll send you a Bills dough, a used one.
To South Carolina. All right, sweeto. Thanks, everyone.
The Bill season is over. Thank you.